Zira was not like the others in the classroom. She was an alien exchange student from a distant planet called Valaria. Her skin was soft purple, her eyes large and glowing, and she had small antennae on her head. She had come to Earth to study human life, culture, and biology. At first, Zira was excited. Everything on Earth looked new and strange to her. The food, the smells, the noise, even the way humans smiled at each other was different from her home. But there was one thing that kept bothering her mind, a question she was too shy to ask. On Valaria, like many alien species, there was something called mating season. It was the only time when males and females could reproduce. Outside of that season, reproduction was impossible. It helped control the population and maintain balance, but on Earth things seemed odd as Zira had observed humans for weeks now. Boys and girls talked freely, touched hands, even hugged sometimes. But she never noticed any mating season signs, no rituals, no changes in behavior like animals had on her world. Yet humans were so many in number, spread across the planet. Finally, in biology class, Zira decided to ask. She couldn't hold her curiosity anymore. She raised her hand slowly, her purple skin catching the sunlight through the window. The teacher, Mr. Davis, smiled kindly. "Yes, Zira? Do you have a question?" The other students turned to look. Zira felt their eyes, but she swallowed her nervousness and asked in a serious voice, "Teacher, when does the human mating season begin?" There was silence, then ... The entire class burst into laughter. Some students chuckled, some laughed loudly, and a few covered their mouths in shock. Zira blinked in confusion. She had asked a simple, important question. Why were they laughing? Mr. Davis chuckled too, but quickly calmed the class. "Settle down, everyone. That's actually an interesting question." Zira's face looked puzzled. She waited for the answer. Mr. Davis smiled and said, "Zira, humans don't have a mating season." Zira's eyes widened. "You don't?" He nodded. "Human males and females can reproduce at any time of the year. There is no special season." Zira's mouth opened slightly in shock. Her mind raced with thoughts. She whispered to herself, "Always fertile? All the time?" The students giggled again, but Mr. Davis saw her confusion. On Earth, it's controlled by choice, feelings, and relationships, not seasons. Zira looked down at her notebook, trying to process this information. On Valaria, that was unheard of. If males were fertile all the time, her people believed that chaos would spread. Wars would start over mating rights. Their history told of such disasters before they had controlled fertility by seasons. How did humans live like this? How did they not fight, not lose control? Zira was quiet the rest of the day. But inside, her brain was full of questions. She couldn't focus on other lessons. She needed to understand more. At lunch, she sat alone, thinking deeply. Her friend, a human girl named Emily, sat beside her. "Hey, Zira." "That was a funny question," Emily smiled. Zira looked at her seriously. "But it's important. If humans can reproduce any time, how do you control yourselves? On my planet, we have strict seasons. Otherwise, everything would collapse." Emily laughed softly. "We have rules, relationships, and emotions. It's not just about reproduction. Humans fall in love, choose partners, and wait for the right time." Zira tilted her head. "Love?" Emily nodded. "It's a feeling. Strong and special. It connects people, not just for mating but for life." Zira scribbled in her notebook. "Humans, fertile always. Controlled by emotions. Love, mysterious. Force." But deep down, she wasn't satisfied. She wanted proof. She wanted to see how humans really lived with such power inside them. She thought, if human males are always fertile, why is there peace in this school? Why aren't they wild? How do they stay calm? That night, Zira sent a report to her home planet. She typed quickly, "Observation. Human males are fertile all year, without mating season. Hypothesis. They use social structures and emotions to control their biology. Further investigation required." She stared at the stars outside her window. Valaria's scientists would never believe this. But she had to understand. She had to know the truth behind human control and the mystery of love. Tomorrow, she decided, she would start observing human boys closely. She had to see if what the teacher said was true, or if humans were simply hiding their wild nature. As she closed her notebook, she whispered, "Humans are more dangerous than we thought. Or maybe they're more advanced than we believed." The stars twinkled above, but Zira knew her journey of discovery had just begun. Zira couldn't sleep that night. The idea of always fertile humans kept echoing in her mind like a puzzle that didn't fit. On Valaria, if a male stayed fertile all the time, his mind would be clouded, his actions unpredictable. Yet on Earth, boys joked, studied, and lived calmly. It didn't make sense. Something was wrong. What if humans were hiding their true nature? Maybe they wore masks during the day, but became wild when no one was watching. The thought made Zira shiver with both fear and curiosity. By morning, Zira made a decision. She would conduct her own secret investigation. She wore a small, almost invisible device behind her ear, a Valerian recorder. It could track movements, record sounds, and even monitor heartbeats from a distance. She activated it quietly. Begin observation log, human males. Goal, understand their control mechanism. Hypothesis, hidden aggression or mating rituals. She whispered. Zira's first target was Leo, the same boy who had smiled kindly when she asked about the mating season. Leo was popular, funny, but never showed signs of wild urges like Valerian males during mating season. She followed Leo from a distance, watching how he interacted with others. He laughed with friends, helped a classmate pick up books, and even shared his lunch with someone who forgot theirs. There was no sign of madness or aggression. Zira was puzzled. She spoke into her recorder. Subject Leo, no signs of wild behavior. Possible suppression? Must observe further. Then something unexpected happened. Zira saw Leo approach a girl sitting alone, crying. The girl looked upset, holding her knees. Leo sat beside her gently. "Hey, what's wrong?" he asked softly. The girl whispered that her pet had died. Zira listened carefully. Instead of ignoring her, Leo comforted her. He placed his hand on her shoulder and spoke kind words. "It's okay to feel sad. You're not alone," Leo said. Zira's recorder blinked, detecting elevated heart rates in both of them, but not from mating desire. It was empathy, comfort, kindness. Zira frowned, whispering to herself, "Why is there no physical reaction towards mating? Why only emotional support?" She didn't understand. On Valaria, contact like this would spark immediate mating behaviors. But here, humans showed a deeper layer, something beyond biology. That night, she recorded her thoughts in her personal log. Observation. Human males show control. Emotional connection prioritized over biological instinct. Possible existence of unknown internal regulation system. Suddenly, her device beeped. A message from the Valarian Science Council. It read, "Zira, your last report is unacceptable. Immediate answers required. Use any method necessary to confirm human male fertility behavior. Do not fail." She felt pressure. If she didn't send answers soon, she could be recalled in shame. Or worse, punished. So Zira planned a direct test. She would confront Leo herself. She would ask him things no human girl dared to ask. She wanted to see his reaction, if his calmness was real or fake. The next day, after school, Zira waited by the library where Leo often studied. When he walked out, she blocked his path. Leo, I need to ask you something personal. Leo blinked, surprised. Sure. Zira leaned in, serious. Is it true that human males are always fertile? Leo nearly choked on his breath. What? Yeah, I mean biologically, yeah. Zira's eyes narrowed. Then why don't you all lose control? Why don't you all fight or go crazy? On my world, that would cause wars. Leo laughed awkwardly. Because we're not animals, Zira. We have brains, feelings. It's not just about being fertile. It's about respect, love, choice. Choice? Zira echoed. That word confused her. Yeah, just because we can doesn't mean we should. We choose when and with whom, After trust, feelings, and connection, Leo explained. Zira stared at him. Her recorder captured every word. But what puzzled her most was how calm Leo stayed, despite the directness of her question. Humans control nature with choice, she whispered. But just then, her recorder buzzed again. Another secret message from her planet. Stop wasting time. If necessary, trigger the male with physical contact. Observe immediate response. Do not return without results. Zira's heart pounded. She was being ordered to cross a boundary, but could she? Would that even work on humans? She looked at Leo, still smiling, waiting for her next words. If humans are always fertile, then why are they so calm? She wondered that night. Zira stared at her device, torn between duty to her people, and a growing curiosity about humans that was far deeper than science. What are humans really hiding? Or is there something even more powerful than biology guiding them? Tomorrow, she decided she would test it, even if it meant breaking her planet's rules. Zira did something no Valerian scientist had ever dared. She was about to break a rule written deep in her culture. Never touch a fertile male without permission, or face the consequences. Yet here she was, standing in front of Leo, a human male, always fertile, always ready, or so she believed. But he looked calm. He looked ordinary. Zira's hands trembled slightly. What if she touched him? Would he change? Would he reveal the wild side her people feared? Zira took a breath and decided to test him. Leo, can I try something? She asked, voice low. Leo smiled curiously. Okay. What do you want to try? Before she could lose her courage, Zira reached out and touched Leo's hand. Her fingers were cold, skin violet, and smooth. His was warm and rough. She waited. Watched his eyes carefully. On Valaria, any fertile male would show signs immediately. Pupils widening, pulse racing, the mind clouding with instinct. But Leo just chuckled, looking at her hand. You're cold, like holding a popsicle. Zira's eyes widened. That's it? Nothing changes? Leo laughed. Well, should it? She withdrew her hand, confused, whispering to herself. No reaction. Why? Her recorder flashed a message from her government. Did physical contact trigger biological response? Report data. Zira frowned. She typed back, negative, no response. Human male remains calm even after contact. Request permission for further tests. But the reply was harsh. Proceed with more intense observation. Time is running out. Fail, and you'll be recalled, disgraced. Zira stared at Leo. He smiled gently, not knowing the pressure Zira carried on her shoulders. She sat beside him on a stone bench. Leo. Can I ask why you didn't react when I touched you? Leo raised an eyebrow. React how? Zira hesitated. On my planet, males would respond. Touch means readiness to mate. Leo laughed awkwardly. Wow. No, it doesn't work like that here. Touching hands? That's just friendly. Zira narrowed her eyes. Then how do you know when to mate? Leo grinned. Because we fall in love first. It's not just touch, it's the heart, the feelings. Zira scribbled in her notebook. Theory, emotional connection required. For mating response in humans, touch alone insufficient. But she needed proof. Her people wouldn't accept theories. They wanted biological evidence. Suddenly Zira had an idea. What if she studied humans secretly, beyond the school? That night, under the cover of darkness, she activated her cloaking suit, a transparent shield making her almost invisible, and followed groups of human boys in the city. She watched them in cafes, in parks, playing sports, laughing with girls. Still, no signs of uncontrollable mating urges. No battles for mates. Only laughter, friendships, dates, smiles. At midnight, Zira stood on a rooftop, looking over the glowing human city. How do they stay so peaceful? How do they survive being fertile all the time? Suddenly, her device beeped with another encrypted message. Return to Valaria immediately. Last warning, your mission is a failure. Zira clenched her fists. She couldn't leave yet. She felt close to discovering the truth. Something more than science. She thought of Leo's smile, his warmth. The way he made people laugh, not fight. There was something inside humans. Something her species didn't understand. She whispered to herself. What if humans don't just control fertility? What if ... they evolved beyond it? As dawn broke, Zira made a decision. She would not go home. She would stay and learn. Even if it meant betraying her orders, even if it meant never returning to Valaria, she had to understand the human secret. And deep inside, another strange feeling began growing inside her. A feeling she couldn't yet name. A feeling only humans understood. On Valaria, touching a fertile male without consent was forbidden. But falling for one? That was a crime punishable by exile. Yet here Zira was awake in the middle of the night, staring at her own trembling hands, the same hands that had touched Leo. She could still feel his warmth on her fingers. But instead of danger or aggression, she felt safe. She felt curious. Her communicator blinked red, a sign of a final warning from the Valerian High Council. You have failed to report biological proof. Return home within 24 Earth hours or face consequences. But Zira didn't want to return. Not yet, she whispered to herself. There is something else about humans. I can't explain it, but I feel it inside me. She remembered Leo's smile, his laughter, his patience. She couldn't report these as scientific facts, but they made her heart flutter, something her species never taught her to feel. For Valerians, everything was logic, biology, data. But humans? They followed emotions, connections, invisible bonds called love. And Zira was starting to feel it. But how could she prove that to the High Council? How could she explain a feeling to scientists who only believed in numbers? Then she had an idea. A dangerous one. She decided to provoke a human male, Leo himself. She would do things that should, by Valerian logic, trigger mating instincts. If Leo reacted, she could finally report her findings. If not, she'd have to accept that humans truly were different. The next day, Zira asked Leo to meet her in the quiet library room after class. Leo was cheerful as usual. What's up, Zira? More alien science questions? She nodded seriously. I want to perform ... an experiment. But it might be strange. Leo chuckled. I like strange. Zira's cheeks flushed slightly, a shade of deeper violet. She stood close to him, very close. She touched his hand, then his shoulder. Slowly, carefully, she traced her fingers up his arm, watching his eyes. Leo blinked. Are you okay? Zira kept watching his face, heart rate steady, breathing normal. Still no reaction like Valerian males would have. Why? By now, a Valerian male would be overwhelmed by mating signals. But Leo was still just smiling, a little confused. Leo ... Do you feel anything? Zira asked, almost disappointed. Leo scratched his head. Well, it feels nice, but I don't know what you want me to feel. Zira stepped back, frustrated. Why aren't you reacting? You're fertile, you should. What a mate! Leo looked stunned, then laughed out loud. Zira, it doesn't work like that. We don't. Just ... react to touches like a machine. We need feelings. Connection. Otherwise, it's just touching skin. Zira's breath caught. Feelings. Connection. That was the missing piece. Then Leo stepped closer, his expression gentle. Why does this matter so much to you? She hesitated. Her mission was secret, but something about Leo made her want to tell the truth. She sighed. On my planet, males only mate during the season. If they were fertile all the time like humans, they'd become aggressive, wild. I was sent here to see if humans are dangerous ... but you're not. You're kind, Leo smiled. Maybe being fertile all the time doesn't make us dangerous. Maybe ... it makes us better at controlling ourselves. Zira was speechless. She realized her people were wrong. Fertility didn't control humans, their hearts did. Suddenly, her communicator buzzed again, the final threat. Return now, or you will be exiled and disconnected from Valaria forever. She closed her eyes. If she stayed, she'd never go home again. But when she opened them, she looked at Leo ... and for the first time she understood why humans didn't lose control. Because they didn't follow their bodies blindly, they followed the heart ... and now Zira's heart was telling her to stay, but before she could speak, the communicator flashed a dangerous message. You have 6 Earth hours to return, otherwise, retrieval squads will come for you ... by force. Zira's hands shook. She was running out of time. Leo noticed her fear. What's wrong, Zira? She whispered, almost broken. They're coming for me. If I stay ... I may never go home again. Leo looked into her glowing violet eyes and said, Then let's find a way to keep you here. You're not alone, Zira. Not anymore. As the clock ticked down, Zira realized she had a choice. Return to a cold scientific world that feared emotions. Or stay on Earth, where choice, love, and connection ruled. And deep inside, she knew. Her heart had already chosen. It started with a shadow in the sky. At first, humans thought it was a cloud, but Zira knew better. She felt the vibration in her bones, a frequency only Valarians could sense. They were here. The retrieval squad from Valaria, cold, silent, and merciless. They didn't ask questions. They didn't listen to feelings. They followed only one command: bring her back. Or erase her if she resists. Zira stood frozen in the schoolyard, staring up at the shimmering air where their invisible ship hovered. Only she could see it, through the special lens in her eyes. No. They really came, she whispered, her voice shaking. Just then, Leo found her. He ran across the grass, panting. Zira, what's going on? Why are you so scared? Zira grabbed his arm, her grip tight. They're here, Leo. My people. They came to take me back. If I don't go willingly, they'll force me ... or worse. Leo looked at the sky, seeing nothing but blue. But ... why? You're not hurting anyone. Zira's eyes glowed faintly. Because I stayed too long. Because I started feeling things I shouldn't. I'm contaminated by human emotions. That's illegal where I come from. Leo stared at her, disbelief in his eyes. Emotions are not contamination, Zira. They're what make us human. Her communicator buzzed again, this time a chilling message. Final warning, surrender now, or be extracted by force. Zira's heart raced. Her mind screamed to run, to hide. But where? They would find her anywhere. She looked at Leo. His face full of concern, of kindness, of ... something more. And for the first time, she realized she didn't want to go home. She wanted to stay. Leo ... I don't want to leave, she admitted, her voice breaking. I don't want to live in a world where feelings are forbidden. Leo grabbed her hand. Then don't. Stay with us. Stay with me. Her hearts pounded, both of them. Valerians had too, but only humans had ever made both beat so wildly. But the air shimmered, a flash of blue light. 3 tall figures appeared, Valerian enforcers, dressed in dark silver suits, eyes glowing like ice. Zyra of Valaria, one of them announced, voice cold and metallic. You are hereby ordered to return. You have violated emotional containment protocols. Leo stepped in front of her, fists clenched. She's not going anywhere. The enforcer looked down at him. Step aside, human. This does not concern your species. Zyra pulled Leo back. Leo, they'll hurt you. They don't feel fear or mercy, but Leo shook his head. I won't let them take you. I don't care if they're aliens or monsters. One enforcer raised a strange device, glowing with crackling energy, a paralysis weapon. Zyra. Final chance. Choose VEL Aria ... or exile and death. Zyra's eyes burned with tears, her body shaking. But she took a deep breath and stepped forward. She looked them in the eye and said clearly, I choose exile. The enforcers paused. You choose death. Zyra shook her head. No, I choose life. Here, with humans, with ... him. She glanced at Leo, and he smiled proudly, his hand gripping hers tighter. The enforcers raised their weapons, but suddenly, something happened, something even they didn't predict. Zyra's body glowed faintly, her skin shimmering with light. Her hearts beat in sync with Leo's, a strange resonance. Somehow the connection between them ... created a shield. An energy field the enforcers couldn't penetrate. They tried to fire, but the energy bounced back, repelling them. Impossible, one of them hissed. Her biology is ... evolving. Zyra stared at her glowing hands. I don't know what's happening, but I feel ... alive, more than ever before. The enforcers backed away, retreating to the invisible ship. This is not over. You will regret this contamination. With a flash of blue light, they vanished. The sky cleared. The air was still again. Leo looked at Zyra, amazed. What ... Was that? Zyra smiled softly. I think ... it was love. They stood together in the quiet, but both knew this wasn't the end. Valaria would come again. But Zyra wasn't afraid anymore, because now she had a reason to fight. A heart worth protecting. End of part 5. Let me know when you're ready for part 6, where Zyra begins to change, evolving in ways no alien or human ever imagined ... you said. Part 6. Start with more Cat said. Here is part 6 starting with a fresh, unique, and emotional hook for your HFY Sci channel. Part 6. Something awakened in Zyra, not alien, not human. That night, Zyra dreamed for the first time in her life. On Valaria, dreams didn't exist. Their minds were too controlled, too logical. But here, on Earth, in the quiet of Leo's home, she saw colors, faces, and ... felt something. She saw Leo smiling. She heard laughter. She felt warmth. She felt alive. When she woke up, her body was ... different. Her skin wasn't just violet anymore. There were glowing patterns across her arms, like living tattoos that pulsed with soft light. Her eyes, once cold and bright, now shimmered with shades of blue and green, colors only humans possessed. She was changing. But into what? She stood before a mirror, tracing the glowing patterns on her skin. They looked like symbols, but she couldn't read them. She whispered, is this because of him? Because of ... love? Then Leo knocked on the door. Zyra? Are you okay? She quickly covered herself with a blanket. I'm fine. But she wasn't. Not really. She opened her recorder. planning to log her condition, but the screen flashed a warning. Biological deviation detected. Genetic mutation in progress. Cause unknown. Recommend immediate isolation. But she didn't feel sick. She felt strong, as if her body was blending two species, alien and human. Later, she sat with Leo under a tree in the backyard. He noticed her glowing arms, the shifting colors in her eyes. ZYRA ... What's happening to you? He asked, concerned. She hesitated, but then whispered, I think. I'm changing. My body is reacting to everything I've learned here. The emotions, the feelings, maybe. To you. Leo looked shocked. Because of me. Zira smiled gently. Because of humans. Because of love. Leo blushed. You. Make it sound magical. Zira laughed softly. Maybe it is. On Valaria, love is just a chemical imbalance, but here, it's something deeper. Suddenly, her communicator buzzed again, but not from Valaria. This time, it was an emergency. Frequency from Earth's secret defense network. They had detected the Valerian retrieval ship still orbiting Earth, cloaked. They hadn't left. They were watching, waiting. Zira stood up, her glowing patterns brighter. They're still here. They're waiting for the right time to strike. Leo grabbed her hand. We need to tell someone. The government, the military. But Zira shook her head. No. If Earth's military attacks them, they'll destroy this planet in seconds. Valerian tech is beyond your weapons. Leo looked worried. Then what can we do? Zira looked at her hands, the glowing lines, the human warmth she felt inside. I think I'm becoming something new. Maybe I can stop them. If I finish this transformation. Leo stared at her, both awed and terrified. ZYRA ... You're evolving. She nodded. Yes, I'm not fully Valerian anymore, but I'm not fully human either. I'm something else. Then she looked at Leo seriously. But if I fail, if my body rejects this change, I could die. Leo held her hand tighter. Then I'll help you. You're not alone. Zira smiled. For the first time, she wasn't just an alien, a student, or an experiment. She was becoming a bridge between two worlds. And high above in the invisible ship, the Valerian enforcers watched her closely. Begin preparations. If she completes the mutation, she'll be a threat to us all. Time was running out. Zira had to embrace her new self or lose everything. Asterisk. The sky cracked open at dawn. A ripple of light spread across the clouds as the Valerian ship finally uncloaked. The retrieval squad had grown impatient. They weren't going to wait any longer. In the schoolyard below, Zira stood with Leo. Her body pulsed with light under her skin. Alien patterns now fused with human colors. Greens, blues, purples. Her eyes sparkled like twin stars. She was no longer fully Valerian. She wasn't fully human either. She was the first of her kind, a hybrid. Above, a mechanical voice echoed across the sky. Zira of Valaria, you have disobeyed. You are ordered to surrender immediately. Last warning. But Zira stood tall, her heart calm. I am not Zira of Valaria anymore, she shouted to the sky. I am Zira of Earth, and I'm not going anywhere. Leo stood by her side, defiant. You'll have to go through us. Suddenly, a beam of energy fired from the ship, a searing, blinding blast aimed straight at them. But just before it hit, Zira raised her hand. And the energy stopped. The blast hovered in the air, frozen, as if time itself had hesitated. Her glowing veins shimmered brighter, her voice deeper and steady. I control it, she whispered. I control the energy. Leo watched in awe. As Zira twisted her hand, turning the deadly beam into sparkling particles that floated harmlessly into the sky, the Valerian ship buzzed with alarms. Impossible. Her biology has rewritten itself. She's beyond us now. Zira floated off the ground, her body surrounded by a soft, radiant aura. She was evolving in real time, adapting, growing stronger. I understand now, Zira said aloud, looking to the sky. Humans survive not because of strength, but because of love, choice, connection. That's what makes them powerful. She then faced Leo, her voice gentle. And I feel it too, because of you. Leo smiled proudly. We did this ... together. Suddenly, the Valerian voice roared again. She's a threat to Valaria. Eliminate her. Multiple energy beams fired from the ship. But Zira moved with impossible speed, her hybrid body reacting faster than thought. She shielded Leo effortlessly, her hands glowing as she absorbed each blast. But she didn't attack back. She simply stood firm, her energy growing, the air crackling with power. Then she shouted, "Go home. Tell Valaria that Earth is protected. By me." The ship trembled, recognizing the truth. She was beyond their reach now. A being that merged the precision of science with the power of human emotion. Slowly, the Valerian ship retreated into the clouds, vanishing into the sky. The threat was gone. For now Zira landed gently, her feet touching the earth like she belonged. Leo ran to her, eyes wide. "Zyra ... You're incredible. You saved us." She smiled softly. "I'm not just an alien anymore, Leo. I'm something new. Because of you ... because of this planet. I've evolved." Leo chuckled. "Does that mean you're staying?" Zira laughed. "Where else would I go?" The sun rose fully, bathing them in light. Zira looked at the sky and whispered, "Let them come back. I'll be ready. I'll protect this world. Our world." And so Zira, once an alien student, became the first defender of Earth, not because of weapons, or science or strength, but because she had learned the greatest human power of all, the power of the heart.